A bunch of journalists group together as they ask several questions to the protagonist, Hunter Junu Kim, as they interview him about becoming the first ever SSS-Ranked hunter in the world as he's set on his way towards his next dungeon, which is notorious for being highly. That's when we are revealed that Junu Kim never personally announced about this quest, yet somehow people had found out as Junu Kim keeps getting showered with questions. He simply turns around and says that he's sorry that he's preoccupied with the conquest, indicating that he has no interest at the moment to respond to any of the questions being asked, which sort of makes all of the interviewers a bit taken aback, even though Junu Kim is known to not talk much in interviews. On the contrary, however, instead of leaving everyone a bit unsettled, he says one thing before departing onto his conquest, that his team's top priority is and will always be the safety of the citizen of the city. Right before his team is set on leaving, one distinct voice calls out to him, confronting him about the time he had thrown one of the dungeon cleaning staff and caused severe bleeding on him, something that Junu Kim thought had no witness, so now he is a bit on edge as this was not protocol. As Junu Kim stops approaching the portal and turns around anxiously, the stranger says that he knew the old man himself and proceeds to give graphic details about how he beat him up and tried to hide it. This causes all of the journalists to start talking around about the allegation this stranger had put on Junu Kim as the tension rises, but Junu Kim plays it off cool, calling the allegation nothing more than just a disturbing rumor, and he proceeds to walk onwards to his conquest. The stranger then taunts Junu Kim as he's walking away by calling him the world's greatest hunter sarcastically. After having teleported, Junu Kim can be seen getting very anxious as his secret had leaked out. We now are introduced to the association, which is an association of Korea with their focus on managing, as they can be seen discussing about a Cerberus on the loose, a giant three-headed dog. Finally, we are introduced to Operation Team 1, the association's apex team, which is a team full of the best hunters led by Junu Kim. They can be now seen coming back victorious from their latest conquest, having slayed the Cerberus. But to everyone's disappointment, as soon as the team comes back, they find out that the whole internet is going crazy over that allegation against Junu Kim prior to their departure, which frustrates the hell out of Junu. Unable to contain his frustration, Junu Kim lashes out on his driver Miss Lee, who happens to be on the association's board, about how he had asked her to cover up incident, to which she coldly responds that the stranger was a random person, not a reporter, and that the situation is under control. Just as Junu Kim calms down a bit, Miss Lee proceeds to tell him that to her understanding, that stranger was the son of the cleaning team leader, which enraged Junu. Miss Lee continues talking, stating that there are a lot of people are also coming up and now reporting other ill things they have witnessed Junu Kim do, and suggests Junu to take some time off and let the drama stir down. Junu then angrily responds back to Miss Lee that he would eliminate anything that comes in his way. Miss Lee tells him to calm down and that it will be taken care of, as the association is already on it. Junu then sighs and says that he feels like he is talking to a machine, as the conversation was going nowhere, and proceeds to ask the chairman's take on the situation. Miss Lee says that he is very busy at the moment, and Junu calls her out on lying, that the chairman simply doesn't want to talk to Junu right now and might be considering dropping him, which infuriates Junu even more, as he is the reason the chairman had gotten his position in the association. Miss Lee then hits him back with the IC in a cold voice, showing that she really couldn't care less about his personal well-being, and reassures him that this should not have an effect on his rank as an SSS hunter. However, having his public image ruined like this makes Junu vengeful against that stranger and the people behind it. Junu finally reaches the association facility, and in a fit of rage punches the wall, cracking the wall a bit from his impact, shouting that he will make that stranger pay, but his team members calm him down for the moment and ask him to come with them. Junu Kim calms down and goes with them, although deep down he is still burning with hate and vengeance against that guy. In the scene that follows, Junu Kim finally makes his first public appearance after the controversy had taken place. Everyone can be heard chanting his name and praising him as their savior, a hero. But inside his mind, Junu Kim is unable to enjoy the moment, as all he feels in the moment right now is anger and vengeance, saying to himself that all his hard work has gone to waste since those testimonies against him happened. Junu clenches his teeth so hard that a bit of blood comes out of his mouth, clearly showing that Junu seems to have difficulty managing anger and copes by simply letting it build up inside of him. The scene cuts to Junu and Miss Lee again, as she asks Junu why did he hit the guy from the cleaning crew, to which Junu tries justifying himself, saying that the guy grabbed his collar first and he only defended himself. She asks him how he's never been nice to the cleaning crew, but he never cared to interact with them anyway. Junu shrugs her off and switches the topic to dealing with the head of the cleaning crew, Junti Park, and plans to threaten him due to the current situation. Miss Lee coldly agrees to get to Mr. Park as their top priority out of nowhere. A speeding truck shows up, ramping up towards their car, catching both of them off guard as they were too busy earlier while talking to have noticed it earlier. Suddenly a blue light appears and it's shown that it's Junu. He is shown using his time controlling ability, which barely helps them survive the truck in the nick of time. Junu has a gut feeling that this was no any coincidence and looks towards Miss Lee, exclaiming that the truck driver must be drunk or something. Miss Lee finally breaks her cold character and can be seen scared and shaking, still mentally recovering from what had just happened as she stops the car. Junu gets out of the car and goes to confront the drunk truck driver, shouting what kind of weirdo dares to ruin his day suddenly. A bunch of mental pieces start wrapping around Junu's body. Junu Kim tries his best to free himself from the trap but fails to do so as he realizes the trap's binding over his body is far beyond a human's capability to break free, rendering him unable to move at all. Just when he thinks that this can't get any worse, the truck that they had just dodged crashing into suddenly showing up behind him, rushing towards him. The truck seems to be speeding up more and more as it approaches Junu Kim, and all he is able to say is "I can't do anything," but before he is even able to finish that sentence, the truck crashes into him hard. To the viewer's shock, this time Junu Kim doesn't seem to have any ability that would help him out of the mess he has found himself in. As the truck hits him, his ears start ringing as he gets stunned pretty bad from the impact from the back of his head, and he screams in pain. Before he could even process the pain from that, a second truck shows up out of nowhere and slams into him from the front, seemingly crushing his body. As both the trucks collide, they burst up into an explosion, cause the surrounding area to be fully set on fire as a shadowy figure can be seen slowly staggering up from the blazing fire. It's Junu Kim. Somehow he had survived the explosion, although at the moment he can be seen having difficulty walking a bit, but he finally gets a hold of himself and scoffs, "This sure is a crappy day." Junu Kim then finally looks up after taking a deep breath, only to see a swarm of armored and armed men with guns and riot shields aiming at him, and he spits blood out of his mouth and goes, "You dare challenge me." The swarm of soldiers open fire on Junu Kim as he can be seen tanking all of the bullets being fired at him. Junu can be seen having conversation with himself as his eyes are closed, assessing the situation, stating that this was a well-planned and executed ambush on him, that a normal hunter would have stood no chance of survival in this situation. Junu then opens his eyes, and it is shown that there's a bunch of soldiers just laying on the ground, knocked unconscious, as he is seen wielding two swords made of lightning, blood dripping down his face, yet no signs of exhaustion. He angrily shouts at all of the soldiers that he has downed, who are barely in their senses anymore, that he has survived over 1,000 battles in the dungeons, which fight having his life at stake, yet every time he come on top surviving. Getting the mission done, "That's who I am," he roars, "This won't kill me," as he is seen mercilessly slaying the soldiers. She slows down as more soldiers surround him, and he puts his swords back into their holsters as a mysterious soldier shows up and points a gun at his head, as Junu can be seen silently not reacting to it. He then recognizes the mysterious soldier by the gun in his hand. It is the blue iron muzzle of the superpower suppressor Titan, and seemingly in his dying moments his last words are, "This could turn out to be dangerous." But before he could finish his sentence, the mysterious soldier clicks his gun and a long bang can be heard as Junu Kim's dialogue is abruptly cut off. In his dying moments, Junu Kim tries to save his own life by using his ability, but to his assessment of the situation, he had faced critical damage to his lungs, heart, liver, brain, and all over his body. His heart starts racing and suddenly goes into cardiac arrest. As a last resort, he tries to revive himself using his ability, but to his dismay, his body gives out and his death is confirmed. The soldiers then pick his body up and throw it into the river as they confirm his death. As we see Junu Kim's corpse slowly delve deeper into the water, suddenly his body starts having flashes around him. A voice in his head goes by, "Your death." You have unlocked a hidden skill upon his death. His time control ability somehow manages to send him back 10 years into the past in order to save him, where he is told that his former life's karma will determine his new life. As the focus slowly shifts onto a man cleaning up monster corpses, it is Junu Kim, and he is shown not wearing his usual dungeon hunter gear, but rather just a t-shirt. Junu Kim is now assigned a new life where he is a member of the cleaning crew, as his karma lead him to this fate from his former life's wrongdoings against them. In the final panel of this chapter, we are shown Junu Kim being shouted at for being lousy at work. He huffs out some air and says, "This is killing me." That was the end of Chapter 1 of the Dungeon Cleaning Life of a Once Genius Hunter. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for Chapter 2. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and hitting the bell icon so you get our channel's posts as soon as they get published.